Okay guys, let's try the KNN model in Excel. So again, we have following information. We have the age of the consumers, okay, and then we have the income, and then we have the purchase history. Now remember, we have 16 data set. So my sample size is equals to 16. Okay, we need that later. So my sample size is 16. So I have the data set where we have information about 16 consumers. They have the income in thousands, age, and whether they purchase the product or not. Okay, whether they purchase the plant-based meat when they visited the website. Okay, now company would like to find out whether this new consumer whose income is 75,000 and age is 38 years, is he or she a potential buyer or not? Okay, if he or she is a potential buyer, the company would like to offer a discount voucher. Now the question is he or she a potential buyer? Okay, that's what we need to find out based on the 16 sample we have. Okay, so whenever we work on data, it is very important for us to visualizing the data. It's very important to see the data to understand. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to try to see the data. How we're going to do that? We're going to go to the data. Sorry, we're going to go to the insert button, and let me okay, so we're gonna go to insert and click the scatter chart here, and once we click that, we don't need this title, and now we need to select data. Okay, so scatter chart. Now we're gonna select data. Here is the select data. Click the select data, and we want to remove all those because we would like to add our data. So first, let's say we would like to add age in x-axis. So this is my age. So I'm gonna select all except the variable name. So I'm not gonna add age. I'm gonna add all the values except the variable name. For y-axis, I will add the income. Okay, again, I'm not gonna add this variable name. I'm gonna add only the data. So you select the data and now click OK. Now you see we have the data where my x-axis is age and y-axis is income. So I need to add my title, axis title. So you click this plus sign and click this axis titles, so we can add our titles. So my x-axis is age and y is income. Okay, Now we would like to select all these dots and right click, and then you click add data labels. Okay, and then you go again, right click, and then say format data labels. Now, so again, first you right click and then click the add data labels, and then again you right click and then click the format data labels. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna click value from cells. Then it will ask which value you're talking about. So I'm gonna add the labels, that is my purchase history. Okay, again, I'm gonna add everything except the variable name, and then OK. And then I will unclick this Y value and show leader lines. Okay, and then I'm done. Now you can see this graph based on the purchase history. Right, now you can see that there are two groups here. One is the group who didn't buy any product here, okay, and there is another group who bought this product on the left side. So you can see these two groups. Now let's see, how about if we bring that in our, let's see, make it slightly smaller. Now how about if I bring the information about that new consumer, okay, in this graph, in this figure, and see where it belongs. Okay, so we identified there are two groups, one who bought and the other one who didn't buy the product, and I want to see where this new consumer belongs. Okay, so again you go to the data, you go to the chart design. So click the chart design because I want to add the information about new consumers in this figure. So you click chart design and then you select data again. And then we need to again add our new values. That is the information about our new consumers. So we're gonna click add button. Again, I need to add X. What is X? Age, right? So this is the age of the new consumers. I'm gonna add this one, that is age. And I need the Y. Y is income. So I'm gonna click here, and this is the income of the new consumers. Okay, so I'm gonna click OK and OK. Now you see that the orange color dot is our new consumers information. Okay, so you can see it's pretty close to the group who bought the plant-based meat as compared to the group who didn't buy, right? So it means that probably this new consumers is a potential buyer of plant-based meat. Okay, so you visualize that. It's now make it very easy for you to calculate, because now you know most probably this new consumer belongs to the group who buys the plant-based meat. Okay, so what we are gonna do in KNN algorithm, we're gonna use the Euclidean distance method to find out the distance between these new consumers, between this new consumer dot with all other dots. Okay, I want to see the distance from here to here, right? How would you know is anyone is your neighbor? Based on the distance, right? So what we are doing here, we need to find out the nearest neighbors. Okay, and that's the key here. I want to find out the distance from this new consumer dot, okay, this orange dot, to all other blue dots. So I have 16 sample size, right? I have 16 data points here. I want to find out the distance from this orange dot to all those 16 blue dots. So I'm gonna measure 16 distance, okay? And I will use the Euclidean formula. And then we will find out who is the nearest neighbor of this orange dot, and can we label this orange dot whether he or she is a potential buyer or not. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I will cut this figure and paste in my chart section. So I already visualize, and I know that most probably this new consumer is a potential buyer, because this orange dot is very close to the group who generally buys the plant-based meat. Okay, so let's go to our data set. So we have again income, age, and purchase history, and we have the information about the new consumers, which is his or her income and age. Now, first of all, I need 3 new columns: rank, Euclidean distance, and the label. Okay. So most easy part is the label column. So what do you need to do? You just take this purchase history data. Okay. Again, you just select the data, not the variable name, and copy and paste under label column. That's done. Now come to the, so I'm going to put next to Euclidean distance. Now we need to calculate our Euclidean distance, and remember our formula is the square root x1 minus x2 plus x1 minus x2 square plus y1 minus y2 squared. Okay, so I'm going to take equal sign square root function. Okay, I'm going to open with 2 parentheses, and then I need x1. What is my x? Edge, right? So this is my x1 minus x2, which is my new consumer edge. Okay, close one parenthesis and square it, plus open another one, and now I need y. Y is the income, right? So first consumer's income, that is this one, 56,000, minus my new consumer income. Okay, you can close the parenthesis, square it, and then I need to close the whole parenthesis. Enter. So that's my Euclidean distance, 23.02. Okay, now the problem in this formula is that I didn't use the dollar sign. I don't want to write the formula for all the cells under Euclidean distance, right? So what does it mean? That I will keep changing these values, the consumer values, and I'm not gonna change the value of my new consumers for every cell. So I need to constant make this new consumer information constant. How I'm gonna do that? I'm gonna add the dollar sign. So new consumer information is always the second one, right? So I'm gonna add dollar before the letter, dollar before number. Again here, dollar before letter, dollar before number. Enter. Now if I do that, if I drag down, I will get all the Euclidean distance for all those blue dots as compared to the orange dot. Next, we need to rank them. We need to find out which one is the shortest and which one is the longest. So we need to rank those distance. In order to do that, I need to include the rank function, rank rank. Okay, so you add rank function. First you need to add which number you would like to rank. Obviously I want to rank this one first, comma, then it's gonna ask from which data you want to rank. I would say obviously from all the way up to the down, all those data I have under the column Euclidean distance. Out of that I want to rank my first one. Okay, and then it's gonna ask how you're gonna rank, descending order or ascending order. Since we want the shortest distance 1, second shortest distance 2, like that is ascending. So if it is ascending, you need to write 1. So you add 1, you get your rank. So this is fourth in terms of nearest distance. Okay, again I don't want to write this formula for each cells under rank column, so I need to use the dollar sign. Now remember, I don't want to change this range, right? Every time whichever data point I'm picking is gonna compare among all these data points I have to rank. So my range will always constant. So I'm gonna use dollar sign before letter, before number, before letter, before number, enter. So now I can drag it down and I can get all the ranks. Okay, so that's my rank. Now we need to find out the k value. Okay, so it's KNN, right? K nearest neighbors. So we need to find out what is the k value. Okay, so k value is mainly the square root, okay, square root of sample size. That is my sample size. How many? 16 data. Click it. Square root of 16 is 4. So my k should be how many? 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It is more like how many people can vote out of this. So in our example, it's how many data can vote, how many consumers information can vote. We have 16. We need to find out how many out of 16 can vote. Okay, so we have 4. So I have 4, and then I need another column which is label. Okay, now we would like to find out 4 nearest neighbors of this orange dot, that means our new consumers, and we would like to see all those nearest neighbors. Are they belong to the buyer group, or they belong to consumers who didn't buy? Okay, that's what we are going to do now. So equal sign, we're going to use the VLOOKUP function to do that. So it's VLOOKUP function. Okay, so VLOOKUP function first is going to ask which one you would like to label. I would say I would like to label K1, right? That is my first one I would like to label. And then it's going to ask from which range. So what are the values from where you would like to label? I would say, well, I have these 3 columns here. Okay, so I'm going to label out of these 3 columns. Then it's going to ask the range you selected, how many columns this range has. Obviously, this range has 3 columns: rank, Euclidean distance, level. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to add 3, comma, and then it's asking if it is not these 3 columns, what's going to happen. So I would say if it is not out of these 3 columns, the result should be false, and you close the parenthesis, enter. So you get, for the number 1 nearest neighbor belongs to the group who buy the plant-based meat. Now remember, again, I don't want to rewrite this whole formula again for all the cells, so I need to use the dollar sign. And when you have the range, you always use the dollar sign in a range. So I have this range here, so I'm gonna use the dollar sign before letter, dollar sign before number, again dollar sign before letter, dollar sign before number, enter. Now if I drag down, I will see that all the 4 nearest neighbors, that means all the 4 nearest blue dots, belong to the group who buys the plant-based meat. What does it mean then? Means that this buyer, this new buyer is a potential, sorry, not a buyer, this new consumer is a potential buyer. So we can offer discount voucher to him or her. Okay, so that's the basic idea. It's very easy. You just need to know the step-by-step process to do that. Okay, we can also add, if you want to add more K to see more dots, 5th nearest blue dot is also belong to the group who buys plant-based meat. Let's check 6. 6th nearest blue dot is actually belong to group who didn't buy the product. Since our K is 4, because again the formula of finding out the K is the square root of sample size. That's the general formula we use. So we are going to stick with K4. So we have 4 voters and all of them voted for the new consumer as a potential buyer. So we will consider this new consumer as a potential buyer, and we would like to offer a discount voucher. Okay, so that's the basic idea of using KNN algorithm to classify or to identify potential buyers. So that's it in this video. Thank you, guys.